So what does the future of robotics look like for the rest of us? You know, we've seen a lot of in-home robotics demo videos. There's obviously Optimus.
Yeah.
Like, how long do you think until humanoids are a part of everyday life?
I think 2026 is going to be the year where we scale up data in a big way. We train good enough models. And then from 2027 onwards, we're going to start rolling out the robots in the real world. Maybe initially it's a combination of human teleoperation. It's a little bit like even for Waymo, you still have like humans kind of jump in when the robot gets stuck, right? So maybe initially it's 90% teleoperation, 10% autonomy. And then while teleoperating, you're also collecting the data as well. So you can use the data to further improve the model. And eventually we get to 100% autonomy.
Fondo, the all-in-one accounting platform for startups. Accounting experts included. Bookkeeping, taxes, and tax credits on autopilot. The average startup gets $21,000 back from the IRS each year. Don't miss the upcoming startup tax deadline, less than 30 days away. Go to fondo.com to get filed. Aragon, the AI operating system for your company. Aragon is a reasoning engine that understands, learns, and acts across your entire organization. Get started at aragon.ai. We have Lucas, the co-founder and CEO of Cortex AI.
Hi, David. Thanks for taking time to chat. Yeah.
Thank you for taking the time to come on. Really excited to chat with you about what you're building. So yeah, tell us more about Cortex AI.
Yeah. So Cortex, for us, we built the data layer for general purpose robotics. So basically we work with frontier AI robotics labs, understand their requirements, and then we go out there to the real world to collect large-scale, diverse, real-world human as well as robot data. Basically, everything that the labs need to train the model.
Pretty fascinating. So the hero is the real world is the next training ground for embodied AI.
Yes.
So there's this. Can you tell us about this trend of like, okay, we're all using LLMs. We're all used to using it on our phones and on our computers. But what is embodied AI and where is that headed?
Yeah. So LLMs are great for text, right? Basically, fundamentally, is predicting the next text and tokens, and we can train it from a large corpus of the Wikipedia data. But when it comes to the real world, the text data that we have doesn't translate that well to the real world. That's why I think recently we've seen a lot of progress in using world model as the foundation layer to train robot action models. So now what we need to do is instead of collecting text, we need to go out there in the real world, whether it's strap-on cameras or VR headset on people or glasses, and just recording the day-to-day manipulation work that everyday people do, right? Whether it's factory workers or retail or just households and everything, collect all those data. And these are the data that will be the fuel, the data to train the foundation models. And using that, we get the robots to move and do things. Yeah.
How much data do you need to train a factory worker robot, for example?
I think the whole field is still very new. I think recently we've seen that there's signs of life, that there's scaling laws in terms of using egocentric data to train the model. We may need tens of millions or even hundreds of millions of hours of day-to-day data, right? So once we have those data, we train an initial model, and then we use that to roll out the real robots in the factories. And then based on the real robots in the factory, we can gather more data. So we bootstrap the data flywheel from there.
Amazing. And this isn't your first startup, right? So you previously built a couple companies, and one, Carousell, you built to over $1 billion. Can you tell us about your experience building Carousell?
Yeah, it's a long journey. So I started my career after school building Carousell. So it's a C2C marketplace. Think of it as eBay in the Southeast Asia region. So built that I was one of the co-founders, built that with my co-founders for 13 years. So it's still scaling, but I decided to take a step back and go back to what I studied back in school. So I studied computer engineering in school. So there's always a hardware element. So now I'm combining, for Cortex, I'm combining the operations experience back in Carousell and also applying it to hardware.
Wow, fascinating. And what was your process like when you decided to apply to Y Combinator?
Yeah. Definitely building a business in Southeast Asia is very different from building in Silicon Valley for the world, right? So I've always wanted to build something in the frontier for the world. So I think YC naturally comes in mind, and also a big part of the reason is because of our partner as well, Gary. So we work directly with Gary. So he's been super encouraging and really pushing the limits for us, right?
Pretty incredible. So how has Cortex changed from when you applied to YC to, where you are today? And you did YC back in fall of 2025,
Yes.
right?
Yeah. Well, the fundamental mission is still the same. We all want to see robots in our homes, robots helping us, and definitely it's still the same to solve for data type of things. It's just that the field has been progressing so fast, right? Just over the past three months, you've seen
Yes.
a lot of the models that came out from the labs. So I think the opportunity, if anything, have gotten bigger. The labs are ready to scale the data up in a bigger way. So we're there to help them.
Incredible. And so you work with sort of two sides. Do you work with companies that have a means of collecting this data, whether it's a factory or other, physical world workflow? And then do you also work with model companies, or are you creating your own robots, or how does what does the full picture look like for Cortex?
So for robotics, there's always the hardware component. There's the frontier labs training the model. And what needs to go in is definitely the data side of things. So we don't build our own robots, but we have mechanical engineers, software engineers in our team. So we use the most commonly used robots. We talk to the frontier labs, and then we really do the grunt work, you will say, that is necessary to be done.
Yes.
And understand the requirements, using the robots and scaling the operations of the factories, workers, and collecting the data for them. So we're really the data piece.
Wow. So Cortex is really sort of the brain for these robots to accomplish the work that people need to get done.
The food for the brain.
The food for the brain. Yes. Okay. Yes.
Yeah.
And so what does the future of robotics look like for the rest of us? We've seen a lot of in-home robotics demo videos. There's obviously Optimus. Like, how long do you think until humanoids are a part of everyday life?
I think it's going to be a continuous cycle, right? Like we see 2025 was a year where a lot of the labs came up with a foundation model. I think 2026 is going to be the year where we scale up data in a big way. We train good enough models. And then from 2027 onwards, we're going to start rolling out the robots in the real world. Maybe initially it's a combination of human teleoperation. It's a little bit like even for Waymo, you still have like humans kind of jump in and take over when the robot gets stuck, right? So maybe initially it's 90% teleoperation, 10% autonomy. And then while teleoperating, you're also collecting the data as well. So you can use the data to further improve the model. And eventually we get to 100% autonomy. So it's not like we're going to collect a bunch of data. We suddenly get to physical AGI, but it's a kind of a continuous process over there. Yeah.
And how does synthetic data come into play with building these robotic systems?
Yeah, synthetic data definitely helps a lot. I think collecting real-world data and human data, in fact, will actually help the simulators to become better itself. So I think it's a back and forth loop, right? They kind of reinforce each other. So definitely both will help there.
And what are you most excited about in the next couple of years for robotics and Cortex AI?
Yeah, I'm really excited to see the scaling laws continue to improve. The more data we add in, the larger parameters that we scale, training it for longer. I do think it's an exciting time that we see the effect over the next 12 months, 24 months.
Amazing. So, all right. So where can we find you online, Lucas? Where can we find Cortex AI?
Yeah, so our website is cortexrobot.ai. Similarly, Cortex Robot on X as well. For me personally, it's Lucas, Lucas Ngoo on my socials.
Amazing. Well, Lucas, we're excited to follow along, so we'll follow you on LinkedIn and X and at cortexrobot.ai. So thank you so much for
Thanks
coming
so
on
much for
today.
your time
Yeah,
today. Thank you.
congratulations on everything. Fondo, the all-in-one accounting platform for startups. Accounting experts included. Bookkeeping, taxes, and tax credits on autopilot. The average startup gets $21,000 back from the IRS each year. Don't miss the upcoming startup tax deadline, less than 30 days away. Go to fondo.com to get filed. Aragon, the AI operating system for your company. Aragon is a reasoning engine that understands, learns, and acts across your entire organization. Get started at aragon.ai.